Today I'm going to work on ventilating the area underneath the sole of the boat. To drill holes in the longitudinals to eliminate dead airspace under there, which is not good, according to the designer. I don't even know why, but I was just going to do what he told me to do. So here we go. Okay, well, here goes nothing. Let's see if I can't put a couple of holes in here. Sam didn't say how many to put in here, he just said put lots of them. So here goes. Just like that. Only got about, I don't know, 10 or 15 more to go, I guess. But if you've seen one, you've seen them all in this case. On to the next thing. Well, there you can see a few of the holes I put in there. All through there for air ventilation. I gotta tell you, it's a little strange drilling holes all over in your boat. But that's what I did. I couldn't decide if I should put 24 of them in there or maybe just 24. But I'll figure it out, I think, if I have a little time. That's it for now. Today is November 2nd, 2022, and I have got the inside of the hull all sealed up with penetrating epoxy. All the exposed wood in there is covered now with something just to protect it as a preservative. And now it's time to mark the location for the sole. The sole has to come, it rests on top of the longitudinals and the cross members in there. And I have to mark where the sole is going to touch the hull. I can't, of course, put screws through the side of the hull. Well, I could, I suppose, but that wouldn't be a good idea. But so I'm going to mark the sides of the hull, and then I'm going to epoxy some cleats all over in there so I can rest the plywood down on top of those and secure them all down with thickened epoxy or 5200 or something like that to create a good solid floor in there, or sole. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to mark that now. I made this little tool, I guess I'll call it. All it is a 2x4 with a hole drill in the end of it with a Sharpie. So I'll show you how that's going to go here in just a minute. Well, this is how this works. I hope I got the camera aimed right here. You just take the cap off the Sharpie to get the business end going here. I just rest this 2x4 right against these surfaces. The plywood is, of course, going to sit right on top of here just like this plywood. And all I got to do is run this Sharpie along here. And that's the line that I have to bring everything to right there. Kind of like that. And then of course I put some other pieces in here that'll connect with these. Kind of like that. I got some rough spots on here so it makes that line a little wiggly and crooked, but overall, generally, I can tell what level I need there. And that's that. Okay, today is November 12th, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the gutter system that surrounds the sole in the aft part of the boat. The reason for that is I'm going to have a washdown pump in here, and of course you pump water in here to wash down whatever kind of mess we make in there, and the water has to have a place to go. So I wanted to have a gutter around the side of the sole water will run into it, run down back into the bilge back here where the bilge pump will pump it out. So what I did here was, now none of this is cemented in place yet. I made a whole bunch of these little vertical pieces like this that rest up against the hull and the bottom and the side. And then this is the bottom of the gutter. That horizontal piece there is the bottom of the gutter. And it takes a couple of steps to get this done here, but I got to get these pieces here cemented in place. This was a tedious thing to do because the angles between the side of the boat and the bottom here constantly change. From the stern back here all the way to the bow, these angles are constantly changing. So each one of those blocks has different angles cut on it. This is the fifth one here. You can see what I got here, these different shapes. Each one of these is custom fit, so to speak, for the position that I put it in. And today this is a very simple, easy job, but I'll be cementing all of those in place so they all stop moving around and falling over on me. And then I will be building the rest of the gutter system after that's solid. And there's a spacer that's going to have to go on top of this horizontal piece. I'll show you that later, but just for now, I'm just working on the gutters. Eventually I'll get to the sole here later this week, I hope. Well, that's it for now. I'll show you when I get all these cemented in what I'm talking about. All glued in place. Just waiting for the epoxy to get hard. This here was, I had the fuel tank sticking back here and I changed my mind and I moved it forward a little bit. So I just plugged up that hole. That's what that is. And then I put another plug right in here, so any water that does get underneath the sole up in here, I can drain through here. I'll only do that occasionally because I don't expect to get much water down in there at all. I shouldn't anyway. Anyway, that's that part of the sole. I am making a template out of cardboard to figure out what shape I need the sole pieces in there. I think I need about 3 or 4 pieces in there to finish the whole thing up here, and I will cut that out. And I'm going very carefully because that plywood is expensive and I don't want to mess it up. So, on to the next part. Well, therethere's the first piece down. See if I can back up here, give you a better view here. It's kind of hard to move around in here. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. The water will run off the sole and down into this gutter here. There's about an 1.5 inch drop here. It'll go through that hole there into the next trough. You go down into the back where it drops down even further and then goes through that hole back there into the bilge. So when I'm spraying all that water around from the washdown pump, it'll have a place to go. That washdown pump puts out about 5 gallons a minute, I think. Something like that. So that's a lot of water in a boat to wash things off with. So anyway, on to the next piece. I'm getting there little by little. Okay, here's the cardboard template that I made on the sole. This is the port side aft part of the boat. This cutout over here is going to be where the fuel tank sits, and that will have its own cover. So that's why that's that way. And what I did here was I laid this out and got it as close as I could. It's kind of hard to do when you don't have anything cut out yet. So I got it as close as I could and cut it out kind of, I would say, to rough shape. And then I added these pieces here, because you can see here, I was a little short on my guess here, so I added a piece to bring it out to the proper size. And again, over in that corner. And over here also, but you know, you can see what I'm doing here, right? I'm just adding, basically wood to the plywood there. So when I trace it out on this piece of plywood here, it'll be correct, or at least as correct as I can make it. And all of this, of course, will be fiberglassed in, so if I do get it off a little bit here and there, I can still fix it pretty easily with fiberglass. That's how we do it. Well, I managed to get the aft section done, but it's supper time now. I gotta quit.